We're all familiar with Disney's classic fairy tales, Cinderella, The Little Mermaid, Snow White, and more. But what a lot of people don't know is that these fairy tales didn't originate under Disney and actually have some dark origins. The Disneyfication of these tales include more than just a happy ever after ending, and a lot of these adaptations also include gender and class stereotypes. Before we discuss the Disneyfication of these fairy tales, we need to first talk about what Disneyfication actually is. Disneyfication is a transformation out of something real or unsettling into a carefully controlled and safe environment with similar qualities. In plain words, this means the changing of something not suited for kids to something that is PG-13, safe and entertaining. Some examples of this is the adaptation of the Book of Exodus with the Prince of Egypt. This movie ends on the most hopeful point possible after the crossing of the Red Sea, showing Moses coming down with the Ten Commandments. It stopped there, a happily ever before note, leaving out all the business with the golden calf, the Hebrews struggle and wandering in the desert for 40 years, and Moses bearing from the promised land and death. You can also see this in the retelling of Bible stories with FairyTales and the Tom and Jerry movie. They ditched most of the slapstick, started to talk and sing, and became best friends, and helped a little girl reunite with her father.
I'll give it a shot. Here we go. We two, we're friends to the end. Ain't we, my friend?
Now, let's look at the Disneyfication of Cinderella. The original story of Cinderella goes like this. The main differences between the original Cinderella and the one told to us by Disney. Cinderella knew her mother before she died. Cinderella's mother told her to be good and pray, and the tree she buried at her mother's grave grew and rewarded her with dresses for the ball. There was no fairy godmother in the original tale. Instead, Cinderella got her things from the birds that nested in the tree from her mother's grave. There are also no mice in the original. Instead, doves help Cinderella and sing to her, not talk. The stepsisters were punished for their awful behavior towards Cinderella by having their toes and heels cut off by their mother and by getting their eyes pecked out by doves. Also, in the original story, the stepsisters weren't considered ugly, but rather very beautiful girls. Now let's look at the Disneyfication of Snow White. The original story of Snow White goes like this. The main differences between the original Snow White and the one told to us by Disney are, in the original, the evil queen's stepmother does not ask for Snow White's heart in a box, but her lungs and liver to eat. In the original, when Snow White is found dead by the prince, he insists on carrying it away due to her immense beauty, when the poisonous apple dislodges from her throat and she awakens, not from a kiss. In the original, the evil queen is punished for her deeds by being forced to wear a pair of glowing hot iron shoes and dance in them until she dies. Now let's look at Rapunzel. The original story of Rapunzel goes like this. The main difference between the original Rapunzel and Tingle are, in the original version, Rapunzel's parents were poor common country folk, while in Disney version they are royalty. In the original version, the enchantress doesn't steal Rapunzel as a baby, but instead makes a deal with her parents to inherit their firstborn child. In the original version, Rapunzel's hair is not magical and it does not have any healing powers. Also in the original, Rapunzel is casted out the tower by the enchantress after she learns of Rapunzel's deceit. Now let's look at the Disneyfication of The Little Mermaid. The original story of The Little Mermaid goes like this. The main difference between the original Little Mermaid and the one told to us by Disney are, in the Disney version, Ariel's transformation to a human is quick and painless. In the original, every step she takes is made to feel like she's walking on daggers. In the original, if Ariel doesn't get the prince to marry her, she will die. Her sisters also sell their hair to bring Ariel a dagger in order to kill the prince to reverse the curse. In the original, in the Disney version, Ariel is just cursed to belong to Ursula forever. In the original story, the prince sees Ariel as a friend rather than a wife, whereas in the Disney version, the prince marries Ariel. In the Disney version, Ariel's father has the power to give Ariel legs. In Han's version, the original version, only the Sea Witch has this power. Disney films inspire at least as much cultural authority and legitimacy for teaching specific roles, values, and ideas than traditional sites of learning, such as public schools, religious institutions, and the family. Higher levels of exposure to television have been correlated with more traditional ideas of gender roles.